So it's been a little while. We've got a lot of stuff done. We've got a front door. And also most of the mechanical systems are in. The electrical and plumbing, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning are mostly finished. So let's go take a look. So since the last time you visited the house, the plumbers and the electricians have been in and a lot of interior partition walls have been put up. So here's our heating system. It's in this room off the garage, our mechanical room. It's a Burnham oil boiler. There is no gas on the street, so we had to go oil fired. So this is the entire boiler, and it will vent right out that pipe right there. There's no chimney. It just vents right out the side of the house. You'll take a peek at that in just a minute. And then it runs the water over to the rest of the house through these massive copper pipes. But there's a little detour here for our indirect fired hot water heater. This is a tank that has a stainless steel lining and it's super insulated. So you can put 80 gallons of water in here. It acts kind of like a zone off of the boiler. You heat it up, and when you're ready to go, you just pull it across the garage. And finally, we have our oil tank tucked in the back. So this is the vent for the boiler. You can see there's no chimney. It's just called a direct vent unit, and the hot air just comes right out here. So we'll probably put the fence for the dog yard here so we don't end up, blow drying the pools. So our plumbing's essentially finished now, and there are a lot of really cool touches. Jimmy Trudeau is our plumber. He's actually Bobby's brother, Alexandra's brother-in-law, and he's done a beautiful job. A lot of detail went into this. For example, I'm standing in the master bath shower right now, which actually comes out 40 inches from the wall. But we cut this wall back to make it easier for Angela to reach the control, so she can have her wheelchair right here and not have to reach so far into the stall to get to the control. And then there are actually two controls, one here and one here. This one will operate the shower head here, and then this one will allow Angela to turn on a shower head that will be handheld, that will be mounted on a steel pole right here, so that if she's sitting, she can comfortably use that. The nice thing, this was Jimmy's idea, is to have two of these, so you could run them both at the same time if you want. That way you don't have to freeze while you wait for this one to warm up when you turn it on. Another little touch. When you come in, there'll be a 42-inch vanity here, and it will have nothing underneath so that Angela can access it in her wheelchair. And the nice thing is that Jimmy offset the plumbing so that as she comes around the corner, she can make that turn. If you put the sink in a standard position centered at 21 inches, it would have been very difficult for her to make that corner. So we'll have a nice piece of solid surface countertop and a built-in sink at a comfortable spot for her. And by the way, both the moving of the sink and the cutting back of the wall were suggestions from Jackie Dobson at Solutions for Accessibility. So I'm in the laundry room. I just want to show you one little touch. This is the kind of stuff that Jimmy does. Here we have this water feed, and actually it's for the hose on the outside of the house. But he put this indoors. He put the shutoff indoors so we don't have to go outside to prep the thing for the winter. We just shut it off here. We open this up, blow the line clear of water, and we're all set for the winter time. You won't have any problems with that hose spigot freezing. So our electrical's almost done. Chris Woodley's our electrician. He's amazing. He installed all of the cabling, and that includes, by the way, all the Ethernet cabling for computer connection. I can barely get a computer to turn on, but we have plenty of Ethernet connections. He did the cable TV wiring for us and everything else as well. So he's almost finished, but I'm going to change something at the last minute. I just don't know what it is yet. The heating, ventilating, and air conditioning guy, Paul Moscato, has also been in, and he's almost finished. He ran all of the warm air, heat, and the air conditioning around the house. He's kind of unusual in that he doesn't use any flex tubing if he can help it. He uses this rigid pipe, this hard wall, and the reason for doing that is it's quieter because there are no ridges on the inside of it, and it also is less of an impediment to the flow of air. And then he wraps it in this radiant and insulative barrier to both cut down on sound and to keep the heat or the cool in the air where it belongs. He does that also for these returns. These are the things that pull the stale air out of the house and then either heat it or cool it and then return it to the building. So we're in the front hall at the staircase, and here's another air return that Paul has installed. And there'll be a decorative grill over this, and it will complement what's going to be a barred metal door that will flip open here, and our dogs will have their den underneath our stairs. And as a bonus, they get to be near some of the circulating pumps for the heat system, so they'll be nice and toasty warm in the wintertime. Crawl space. So we have a crawl space and not a basement. The water table in Westwood is so high that at the high water mark, it's only actually 2.5 feet to 3 feet below the surface of the land. So we didn't want to dig a basement, which would have ended up being a swimming pool, so we went with a crawl space. And the reason we went with a crawl space instead of a slab is because with a slab, you can't put all of this ductwork and plumbing under it and still have access to it. Once you put plumbing and drains, etc. in a slab, that's it. You got to jackhammer it up if you want to work on it. With the crawl space, it's not fun to be down here, but it's a lot less harrowing than jackhammering in your house. So we're in the corner of the crawl space underneath the alcove, and this is the pit for the sump pump, and in it there's a little bit of water. Around the outside and inside of this foundation there are perforated pipes, and if groundwater or rainwater makes its way towards the foundation, it actually ends up in those perforated pipes, makes its way over to here through gravity, and then the sump pump picks it up and disposes of it out in the back ravine. And the whole idea is to keep the crawl space clean and dry so you have no mold, no mildew, and excellent indoor air quality. So I'm at the top of the stairs, and we're actually in what would be the attic in most homes, but because it's a cape, we've used the space underneath the eaves as living space. This front bedroom faces the street, and that's one of the 2 bedrooms that would be up here. The other one is right here, and it faces out to the woods in the back of the property. Now, this is actually the room over the garage, which isn't a bedroom, it's just an open space, and we decided to finish it off because it was incredibly inexpensive to do so, and it's a lot of space. We'll probably toss the cousins up here. Actually, the ultimate idea would be to give them a little stage or something that they could stage plays on over in that space right there. And then I guess that space is going to be for poker, and we'll get the velvet painting of the dogs shortly. So this is the room over the master bedroom. We're not actually going to finish this room. We don't have a basement, so there's no storage in the house to speak of. This room will be for storage. And ultimately, I suppose, one day if we sold the place, it could be another bedroom. You could have all the bedrooms upstairs. On the outside of the house, we're going ultra low maintenance. We have natural red cedar shingles. They're pre-dipped in a wood preservative. You have to do that every few years, but we're not painting, so you don't have to repaint. The trim boards are all made of plastic, actually. It's called Azek, and they take paint beautifully. It'll hold it for a long time. And one kind of cool thing that John Corsi, our builder, was willing to experiment with was this Tyvek house wrap. Now, everybody uses house wrap, but this is actually their drain wrap. And the difference is this one has tiny corrugations or little vertical channels in it, so that when you nail the shingles to it, it leaves a little airspace behind them so they can dry out, and that lengthens the lifespan of the shingles substantially. So I'm standing outside the dining room, and these are the French doors that lead into it. And here's a neat little detail. John, our builder, got what's called public access thresholds for these doors, which are very low profile, and you can run the deck, which we're going to install out here, right up under them. So Ange will be able to come out these doors, which open outward to make it easy. She'll be able to come right out these doors in her wheelchair with just a little bump, as opposed to a slider or a standard threshold, which is really an impediment. So next up is to have the insulation done. That'll happen this coming week, and then we have sheetrock and plaster and interior finish work, floors, and then at some point I guess we'll figure out what to do with the rock.